Hey guys, I'm here at EVO 2018, day one, with Panda Global's very own Wobbles. Wobbles, how's your tournament been going?
It's been going good. I had a real good night's sleep. I had a banana. I ate my coffee, drank my coffee early so that I wasn't jittery during pools. So my new controller is working, so unfortunately this left me with no Johns.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that. What do you do when you're warmed up and playing well? You need to have something to excuse your losses.
Yeah, basically. It's like, that's actually something I've been thinking about a lot, is like when you go into a tourney and you want to try your absolute hardest, but it can be like kind of an intense feeling to feel like I'm revving myself up to play my absolute hardest and have no excuses when I lose.
Right.
Because if you lose, you got no excuses, and it's kind of like there's no ego safety net.
Yeah.
So going to the match against KJH, I was just like, I'm just going to focus. I'm going to feel like the whole rush of competition and not try and like relax my way out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I don't want to feel nervous. So I go, okay. Then I don't care. No, I cared. I played my heart out, and I lost. And that sucks. But, oh well.
You think after the match you accomplished what you wanted to do going in terms of mentality?
Yep, pretty much. It's that's like always been my biggest issue. Is like kind of going back and forth between not trying and trying so hard that I piss myself off, you know? So it's like, just got to be like strong enough to try my hardest and not do that and like actually get there.
So then moments earlier this year when you like said you were switching to Falco and stuff, would you categorize that as not trying, or is that something else?
That was very much like I guess a rut with Melee, where every time I sat down to play it, I was like not having fun. And if I hovered over the ice climbers, I was just like, I don't want to play this character. And then I tried playing some others in friendlies. I could totally play Falco. This would be fun. And it was like super fun for a couple of weeks. And then it just kind of surged back. And I think I just needed more time off from the game because I've been playing a long time. And yeah, now I wanted to like support EVO as a tourney. To support the Melee scene. It's okay to be pop fodder. Most of us are, right? And now I am too. Feels good.
Well, you still made it out of pools. You can still do more than just be pop.
Sick losers run incoming? Yeah, absolutely.
You had the winners run already, so add a losers run to the resume.
True. I had one where I just made it all the way to the end of the video game, all the way in winners. So now I'm going to try and do it on the flip side.
So you said you wanted to come out and support EVO. Is that because of that run that you had? I want to mention, for people who have not read it, Wobbles wrote a really, really wonderful recap of his Cinderella run on Edwin Budding's On Oak's page. You should absolutely go read it. But the emotion that you managed to convey just in that was pretty incredible. I legitimately teared up reading it. So is that why you feel this need to come out and support EVO?
Part of it is also because we've got a new Smash game coming out, and new games in a series always leave like the future of the current scenes a little up in the air. Like if the game is so different from Melee that Melee players don't want to switch, but like Ultimate players do, then we'll probably see Melee keep existing happily as its own scene, and then the Wii U guys will switch over, Wii U will mostly die out, and then Ultimate will be the new thing. But if it's enough like Melee, we might see a huge fracture. And that's okay, people play what they want, but one of the things keeping Melee in EVO is very much its attendance. Yeah. You know, we bring in a lot of unique entrants, which is why we more or less get to keep coming back, because it's good for EVO. Yeah. So in the off chance that we don't get another EVO for whatever reason, we're just like, then yeah, I want the scene to keep doing well. Because whether or not I'm like trying to compete or I'm trying to commentate, you've still got to throw your weight behind the scene if you want it to live. You can't just show up and hope it's still there when you haven't done anything to keep it alive.
So that touches on something else I wanted to talk about, which is I wouldn't even say recently, but you have for a while now become one of these premier commentators, and I think people really, really love seeing you at events when you do show up. How has that interacted with the ups and downs of not trying too hard, and getting mad at it?
One of the nice things about commentary is that it lets me just keep my appreciation for the game intact. Because sometimes you play a game, you like it, you start competing, and you forget why you liked it. And that definitely happens to me a bunch, where I'm trying so hard to win that when something doesn't go my way, I'm like, this game sucks. This game is the worst thing that anyone has ever made. set it all on fire. It's just like, no. If I'm commentating and I'm kind of trying to communicate why the game is cool to people who are watching, then I'm like, oh yeah, this game is really cool. And so it's probably helped keep my passion for the game alive a lot longer than if I had just dug in my heels and tried to keep playing straight up as a competitor. And I'm not commentating this weekend because I forgot you have to submit commentary applications. It's just like usually at events, I know I'm going and I know I'm commentating. Yep. So when EVO rolled around, I was like, yeah, cool. Whoops. So I was originally just going to come and hang out, and then I thought, man, it's only $10. Help Melee stay alive a little longer. Give it a little, donate to Armada or Mango or Hungry Ball. All the top 8. Donate to their PayPals, basically, with my 10.
It's basically like subbing to them on stream.
Pretty much.
So one of the things that that mindset reminds me of when you were talking about having fun with the game, not having fun with the game, you wrote a, by now, pretty famous blog post about 2 years ago about wobbling, about the peaks and valleys of practicing, and how you would switch off between wobbling and other strategies, and that was towards a greater upward trend. Yeah. Would you say that that applies to mentality as well? Do you think of your mental game in the same way?
I hadn't really thought of it quite in those terms, but it definitely does apply, where anytime you try and integrate something you're not used to, you're probably going to suck at doing that. So for me, like trying to be a competitive person again, and feel like the full weight of my competitiveness in my head, I'm very competitive. So a lot of the time I try and dial it back. Trying to include it has this tendency to make me very tense and very jittery, and so that's kind of why I've tried to fade away from that and be like, try to be all Mr. Zen and just kind of goof around and laugh. But it doesn't have to be easy. Maybe it shouldn't be easy to handle yourself in a stressful, competitive way. Yeah. So it is possible that I've got to move away from something that feels better at first and does get me slightly better results, because if I'm just being all relaxed and the other person isn't, then maybe they'll choke and I'll do something funny to them and they'll get embarrassed and I'll win. But I also won't dig in my heels if I'm on my last stock. I'll just be like, I'm just playing a video game. Right. But if I actually go at it full bore, then I might be the guy who gets nervous and chokes. But if I don't do that, I won't have that fire and I won't have that inner strength to sort of channel it and play my heart out without also regretting what that means.
That's a really, really interesting perspective. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, where we all know that the games that go the closest, the ones that we fight the hardest for, are the victories that matter the most because of the fighting spirit or whatever. Yeah. So.
And they can also be the losses that hurt the most. Exactly. And it's really, again, it's like this nice safety net where you go, well, I was just joking around. Right. I was just goofing off, or I'm not trying my hardest. Inside, that you don't have an excuse when you try your hardest and you do everything right. I got a ton of sleep, I had my breakfast, I walked around, I warmed up, I listened to some good amp up music, and then I got my little hand warmer and I checked off everything on my little list. I did everything I felt I needed to do to be ready, and then I got 2-0'd. It's like, coo, right in the heart, but gotta hold that. That's pretty much what it means to hold that L. It's don't try and get rid of it. You got to contain it. Yeah. Otherwise, it can't make you stronger.
That's true. So it's pretty clear from you coming out. You said you wanted to come out to support not only EVO but support Melee, and I think it's clear to everyone that you have a lot of personal investment in the scene, want to see it thrive. Going forward, you said it could potentially be, if Mr. Wizard makes good on his threats, our last year here. Where do you want to see Melee and Smash go from here?
It's kind of weird because the video games are an interesting competitive experience, not just from your perspective as a player, but from a business perspective. Because people aren't releasing the new version of basketball, and we're not going to ask if LeBron James is going to switch to basketball 2, or if he's going to stay in basketball, or if they have DLC, is it going to ruin basketball so he's not in Basketball Ultimate? That doesn't happen with these other sports. They have some rule set changes every now and then, but they tend to be kind of minor. So in games, we have things like, oh, hey, is this new game just going to eliminate half of the people who play and half of the audience. And then that also changes how people approach games, where they're like, should I sink my time into a game that has a few years left? And if a game is in it for the long haul, then you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to grind. I'm going to spend a year getting halfway mediocre. Because that's what happens in Melee. Someone's like, I've been playing for a year. They show up, they get O2'd. I did really good. Yeah, I did a wave thingy, you know? Yep. It's interesting because games are like that. And we have the ultimate booth over there, and I'm probably going to wait in line for 2 hours to like play one game of it like everybody else, and that's going to be cool, but you just don't know what's going to happen with your game. And if you don't know, then you just got to figure out how much you're going to throw at it and how much you're okay with that. And Melee is unique among, not 100% unique, but it is just kept on trucking, precisely because people threw so much into it without regard for how long it might last. Because then they don't say, oh, well, the new Smash is coming out. Guess we're switching. They say, better be good enough to make me switch. And that's something other fighting games also don't have as much. I think dev support has something to do with that. Capcom takes the check and crosses out the 4 and puts a 5 on it. And now all the Street Fighter 4 players are like, guess I'm a Street Fighter 5 player. And and you know, for better and for worse, the scene has a ton of support from devs, but the old one, not so much. So as long as Melee players want to keep throwing their weight behind the game, then it live another 10 years if it wants, 20, until we run out of CRTs. And even then, I think the emulators are pretty much getting sick enough that like the people who want to, you know, just practice at home can do that perfectly.
So that's where Melee goes going forward, which is a scary place. We don't really have a clear answer. Where are you looking to go going forward?
I'm in grad school right now. I'm starting my second semester in about 2 weeks. Very fun. It's for machine learning. So basically, I'm part-time Smash. This has gotten to be my summer of Smash, so that's been pretty cool. I think I'm going to try to keep the part-time Smash thing going, and since I'm looking probably more at a tech-oriented job, that means I've got higher odds of being hired in some high population density places with some tourneys, so it'll be, you know, a quick flight or even a quick drive as opposed to a giant traveling marathon. So I'll probably keep dipping into the scene as much as I can, as long as it's still cool and I recognize the people.
I think we're all going to be recognizing each other until the CRTs run out, like you said.
Until we're all gray.
Yeah, even then. Oh man, someone needs to. Can you imagine Mango with a gray beard? Santa Mango.
You ever been triple shined by a 15-year-old? Feels bad, dude. Feels bad.
It really does.
Some kid's just like, hi. Get out of here.
All right, so final question. I think I have a pretty good idea of what your greatest EVO memory is. What are your other top 3 greatest EVO memories other than your legendary run?
Well, that's tricky. I don't know. Okay, one of them is not really an EVO memory. It was more of a Vegas memory. Yeah. I walked up to a slot machine and I was like, so how does this work? Because it was, you know, all digital. I thought there was going to be a hand thingy and there's all these credits and buttons. It was flashy. It was like a video game. I said, okay, I'm on board. I popped in $1 and someone said, hit that button. I said, oh, okay. And it said credits, 20. I said, cash out, made 20 bucks. Like, I beat Vegas, left. So that was one of them. Watching Axe, very much so, has been like a constant highlight of my EVO experience, just because I'm super rooting for him to be the best in the world. I'm really pulling for him. I know he's Tempo Storm. Sorry, Panda. Like, I'm supporting Zane and Plup. I'm even going to go analyze sets for them and stuff like that. But Axe has been my friend for a long time, so I want to see him flipping kill it. So the Silent Wolf memory, seeing him top 8, seeing him clutch it out against a lot of people, that continues to be a highlight. And off the top of my head, apart from like the time I spent with my friends outside the tourney, mostly it's just kind of a fun blur, because that's Vegas for you. Yeah.
Yeah. People have recently taken to describing Axe as the true protagonist of Melee, and I think that's a fitting term in some ways.
In some ways, yeah.
Thank you so much. Any last things you want to say? Any shout-outs? Anything you want to do before we're done?
It's hard because the list has just kind of gotten longer over the years, and nobody seems to quit this game, me included. So the list doesn't shrink. But it's Panda, team, the players on it. I just finally got to meet Zane, like really, this weekend. He's really cool, so that's nice. My Arizona friends, because they're the reason I got anywhere close to good at the start of my career, and they've been like my true friends for a long time. And then everyone who shows up to play, even if they don't think they have a shot at winning, or even if they don't plan on playing a long time. It's like they form the bulk of the scene with their support and their honest enjoyment of it. So, and last of all, event organizers. I like to shout out the infrastructure whenever I can, because those guys work hard, dude. And they do not look happy until it's over. They just have a look on their face like, hey. So I always want to thank them.
Thank you so much. I hope that you do not catch the sickness that Zane has while analyzing sets for him. I know that he's not doing too well. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more EVO 2018 content, please stay tuned to this channel. And if you like what I'm doing, give a look at my Patreon. I'd really appreciate the support. Thanks, guys. See you later.